Hello students, today we will be solving Pure Maths Paper 1 from October-November 2016, Variant 2. Question number 1. A curve is such that dy by dx is equals to 8 over square root of 4x plus 1. The point 2, 5 lies on the curve. We need to find the equation of the curve. So we are provided with the equation of dy by dx. That means we need to integrate this in order to find the equation of the curve. So for that, we will be taking out 8 from integration because it's a constant. Then we are left with 4x plus 1 to the power negative half. And so power is the operator. That means we have to differentiate 4x plus 1, which gives us 4. And in order to balance it, it will be 1 over 4 outside the integral sign. After that, the integral sign, the differentiation of 4x plus 1 and the dx will go away and we will integrate the operator. So it will be minus half plus 1, which is positive half, and it will be half as well in the denominator. Simplifying this, we get 2. So it will be 2 times 4x plus 1 whole to the power half over half plus c. Simplifying this further, we get 4 times 4x plus 1 whole to the power half plus c. Now, it's given in the question that this point lies on the curve. That means this must satisfy the equation of the curve. So let's substitute this coordinate into the equation of the curve. Therefore, it will be 5 is equals to 4 times 8 plus 1, because 4 2s are 8, plus 1 whole to the power half plus c. That gives us 5 is equals to 12 plus c, so c is negative 7. Therefore, the equation of the curve must be y is equals to 4 times 4x plus 1 whole to the power half minus 7. Question number 2. Express the equation sin 2x plus 3 cos 2x is equals to 3 times sin 2x minus cos 2x in the form tan 2x equals to k, where k is a constant. So we have this equation, and after multiplying we get 3 sin 2x minus 3 cos 2x. Now let's bring all sin 2x on the left hand side and the cos 2x on the right hand side. That gives us sin 2x minus 3 sin 2x is equals to negative 3 cos 2x minus 3 cos 2x. Simplifying this, we get negative 2 sin 2x is equals to negative 6 cos 2x. So simplifying both sides by dividing both sides by 2, negative 2. Dividing both sides by negative 2, we get sin 2x is equals to positive 3 cos 2x. Now this becomes sin 2x over cos 2x is equals to 3. That means tan 2x is equals to 3. So we have just expressed this equation in the form of tan 2x equals to k, where k is equals to 3. In the next part of the question, it says hence solve the equation for x lies between negative 90 and positive 90. So for that, before we proceed, we need to fix the limit, because over here we have 2x and in the limit it says x. So if x lies between negative 90 and positive 90, that means for this to be 2x, we need to multiply 2 with both of them, and that gives us negative 180 and positive 180. Let's call this a different name, such as a. So a lies between negative 180 and positive 180. Now we can call this tan a is equals to 3. So the basic angle will be tan inverse of positive 3. So basic angle must be 71.565. We know that since tan is positive, that means positive tan lies in the first and the third quadrant. So for the first quadrant, before we proceed, we need to again check the limit. The limit is between minus 180 and positive 180. And for any limit, when it says that there is a negative value, you have to find the negative angle first. You have to find the negative angles first. So we have 71.565 as the basic angle. So if we go clockwise from the positive x-axis, we will be getting to the third quadrant. And over here, tan is positive. So for this value, it will be 180 what you will be doing is 180 minus 71.565. That gives you positive 108.435. But since you are going clockwise from the positive x-axis, it will be negative 108.435, and that is within our limit. For the next value, what you can do is go clockwise, to go anti-clockwise. So that will be the first quadrant. And we know in the first quadrant, the basic angle is the actual angle. So it will be 71.565. That means 2x is negative 108.435, which is 71.565. So x must be negative 554.2 and 35.8. Question number 3. A curve has equation y is equals to 2x square minus 6x plus 5. We need to find the set of values of x for which y is greater than 13. That means 2x square minus 6x plus 5 is greater than 13, or we can say 2x square minus 6x minus 8 greater than 13. Let's divide both sides by positive 2. That gives us x square minus 3x minus 4 greater than 0. Now let's do the middle term break. That gives us x square minus 4x plus x minus 4 greater than 0. If we take x common, we will be getting x minus 4, plus if we take 1 common, we get x minus 4 again. So the factors are x plus 1 and x minus 4 greater than 0. So the critical values must be x is equal to negative 1 and x is equals to 4. Now let's draw the number line, and since the quadratic equation is positive, it will be a U shape. And for greater than 0, x must be less than negative 1, and for x greater than 0, x must be greater than 4. In the second part of the question, it says find the value of the constant k for which the line y is equals to 2x plus k is a tangent to the curve. This type of question should give you the idea of finding the discriminant. And since this is a tangent to the curve, that means it will be meeting, this line will be meeting the curve at only one point. That means the discriminant must be 0. B square minus 4ac is the discriminant, which is equals to 0. So this is the equation of the curve and this is the equation of the line. And since they will be meeting, we can equate these two equations. So y equals to y gives us 2x square minus 6x plus 5 equals to 2x plus k. So 2x square minus 6x minus 2x plus 5 minus k is equals to 0. So 2x square minus 8x plus 5 minus k is equals to 0. Now, to compare it with the quadratic equation of ax square plus bx plus c, we can see that a is equals to 2, b is equals to negative 8, and c must be 5 minus k. Now let's substitute these three values into the discriminant, and we will be getting minus 8 whole square minus 4 times 2 times 5 minus k is equals to 0. Simplifying this, we get 64 minus 40 plus 8k is equals to 0. Therefore, 24 plus 8k is equals to 0. That means 8k is equals to negative 24. So k must be negative 3. Question number 4. In the expansion of 3 minus 2x times 1 plus x over 2 to the power n, the coefficient of x is 7. We need to find the value of the constant n and hence find the coefficient of x squared. So before proceeding, let's take a look at this example. It's given that the coefficient of x is 7 for this whole expansion. And how will we be getting the coefficient of x from this expansion? That means if we have something like a plus bx times c plus dx to the power n, the constant a must be getting multiplied with something that has a coefficient of x. And bx will be getting multiplied with the term with the coefficient of x to the power 0. Because this x to the power 0 is basically 1, that means bx will be getting multiplied with a constant. That way, we will be getting, by summing these two values, we will be getting the coefficient of x. So proceeding further, we can say that coefficient of x to the power 0 is basically nc0 times 1 to the power n minus 0 times half x to the power 0. This was not necessary, but I'm doing this just to explain you that how we will be getting x to the power 0. So this gives us 1 times 1 times 1, which is 1. And for coefficient of x to the power 1, it will be nc1 times 1 to the power n minus 1 times half x to the power 1. So this gives us n, and 1 to the power n minus 1 is also 1, times half x. So that gives us nx over 2. So according to the question, we can say, before proceeding to that part, we need to multiply, like I explained over here. So 3 needs to get multiplied with nx over 2. That will give you the coefficient of x. And negative 2x needs to get multiplied with the constant, so that we can again get the coefficient of x. So 3 times nx over 2 is equals to 3nx over 2, and negative 2x into 1 is negative 2x. And according to the question, 3nx over 2 plus negative 2x is equals to 7x. In the question it was given the coefficient of x for this whole expansion is 7. So we can say that 3nx over 2 minus 2x is equals to 7x. And if we take x common on the left hand side and x on the right hand side, we can divide both sides by x, and we will be left with 3n over 2 minus 2 is equals to 7. That means 3n minus 4 is equals to 14. So I'm doing LCM here and multiplying 2 with 7. That gives us 3n minus 4 equals to 14. So 3n is equals to 18, therefore n is equals to 6. Now we have found the value of n. Moving on, we need to find the coefficient of x square for this expansion by knowing the value of n, which is 6. Again, let's look at this example. So we have a plus bx and c plus dx to the power n. So we need to multiply a with the coefficient of x square from this expansion, and we will be getting something x square. And with bx, we need to multiply the coefficient of x from this expansion, and that will give us again bx times something x, which is eventually something x square. So 1 plus x by 2 to the power 6. Now we know the value of n. So let's find the coefficient of x square. So it will be 6c2. The reason why we will be using 6c2, because we can clearly see that we have 1 plus x over 2. That means if we choose 2 over here, this power will go over there, and it will eventually make it x square. Hence we are going for 6c2. So 6c2 times 1 to the power 6 minus 2, which is 4, and half x to the power 2. That gives us 15 times 1 times 1 by 4 x square, which is 15 by 4 x square. Now for coefficient of x, it will be just nx by 2, which we found earlier. Coefficient of x was nx by 2, and we know that n is 6, so it will be 6x by 2, which is 3x. So the required coefficient is 3 times 15 over 4. So we need to multiply 3 with the coefficient of x square, and we need to multiply negative 2x with the coefficient of x from this expansion. So it will be 3 times 15 over 4, because 15 over 4 is the coefficient of x square, and negative 2 times 3, that is the coefficient of x for the expansion. That gives us 45 over 4 and negative 6. Now when you add these two, you get 21 over 4, and that is the coefficient of x square for the expansion. Question number 5. The line x over a plus y over b is equals to 1, where a and b are positive constants, intersects the x and y axis at the points a and b respectively. That means when this line intersects the x-axis at a, so at x-axis we know that y is equals to 0, so the point a must be x and 0. And the line intersects the y-axis at the point b, and we know that at y-axis x is 0, so the point b must be 0 and y. Then it says the midpoint of AB lies on the line 2x plus y equals to 10. So let's find the midpoint of AB. The midpoint of AB must be, we will be using the formula x1 plus x2 over 2 and y1 plus y2 over 2. So x plus 0 over 2 comma 0 plus y over 2 gives us x over 2 and y over 2. This is the midpoint, and this midpoint that lies on the line 2x plus y equals to 10. It also says that the distance AB is equals to 10. We need to find the values of A and B. So since it says the distance of AB is 10, let's find that out as well. So for the distance, we will be using the formula square root of x2 minus x1 whole square plus y2 minus y1 whole square. So that gives us 0 minus x whole square plus y minus 0 whole square and equals to 10. Now if we square both sides to get rid of the square root, we get x square plus y square equals to 100. Let's call this equation 1. Now this was the equation of the line, which was x over a plus y over b equals to 1. Now let's substitute this coordinate a into this equation, and we will also be substituting the coordinate b into this equation as well, because they both lie on this equation. So x over a plus 0 over b equals to 1 and 0 over a plus y over b is equals to 1. That means x over a is equals to 1 and y over b is equals to 1. So x is equals to a, let's call this equation 2, and y is equals to b, and let's call this equation 3. Since the midpoint of AB lies on this, that means the midpoint that we got earlier must satisfy this equation. So we can substitute the coordinate into this equation. So it will be 2 times x over 2 plus y by 2 equals to 10. Simplifying this, we get x plus y over 2 equals to 10. So 2x plus y is equals to 20. Therefore, y is equals to 20 minus 2x. And let's call this equation 4. Now using equation 1 and 4, so this is the fourth equation and this is the first equation. So x square plus 20 minus 2x whole square is equals to 100. Or we can say x square plus, we will be using the formula a minus b whole square to expand this. So it becomes 400 minus 80x plus 4x square minus 100 is equals to 0. So 5x square minus 80x plus 300 is equals to 0. Now let's divide both sides by positive 5. That gives us x square minus 16x plus 60 is equals to 0. So x square minus 10x minus 6x plus 60 is equals to 0. Now let's take x common, and that will give us x minus 10. And if we take negative 6 common, we get x minus 10 equals to 0. So the factors are x minus 6 and x minus 10 is equals to 0. Therefore, x is equals to 6 and x is equals to 10. Hence, the value of y must be 8, and the value of y for when the x is 10, when the value of x is 10, y must be 0. This can be found if you use the formula, which was 2x plus y equals to 10. Sorry, not this formula. The formula will be y equals to 20 minus 2x. So if we substitute the value of 6 into this equation, we get y is equals to 20 minus 12, which is 8, and 10 times 2 is 20. So y equals to 20 minus 20, which is equals to. The reason why we substituted the value of 6, the value of x equals to 6 and x equals to 10 into this equation, because we were considering the equations 4 and equation 1 to figure out the value of x and y. Now, since a and b are positive constants, that means a must be 6 and b must be 8. The reason why we chose this, because they both are positive constants. So we have to take this pair only. If you consider x equals to 10, then you have to consider y is equals to 0. And that is not a positive constant. So we will be discarding this pair and we will be selecting this one only. So a must be 6 and b must be 8. Question number 6. The diagram shows a metal plate ABCD made from two parts. The part BCD is a semicircle. The part DAB is a segment of a circle with center O and radius 10 cm. Angle BOD is 1.2 radians. we need to show that the radius of the circle is 5.646 centimeter, correct to 3 decimal places. So in triangle OBD, let's figure out what will be the length of BD first. So if the radius is 10, that means OD is also 10, and we can use the cosine rule to figure out the length of BD. So BD square must be 10 square plus 10 square minus 2 times 10 times 10 times cos 1.2. That gives us BD square is equals to 127.53. Therefore, BD must be 11.293. So this length is the diameter for the semicircle. That means the radius will be half of that, which is 5.646. In the second part, we need to find the perimeter of the metal plate. So when they're talking about the perimeter, that means we should not be taking the dotted line, rather we should be taking the solid lines, these circular path only. So arc length BAD. BAD is the major arc, and we have to find the length of the BCD as well. So arc length BAD must be, the formula we will be using is r theta. So radius is 10 times theta will be 2 pi minus 1.2. So if this is 1.2, this angle must be 2 pi minus 1.2, which gives us 50.83. And the arc length BCD is, we will be using the formula 2 pi r over 2, because 2 pi r is the complete circumference of a circle, and since it's a semicircle, that means it will be 2 pi r over 2. That gives us 17.74. So the required perimeter must be the sum of these two, which is 68.6. Next, we need to find the area of the metal plate. So let's have a look at the diagram again. So we have to find this major arc, this triangle, and this semicircle to find the area of the metal plate. So area of the major sector is half r square theta minus 2 pi minus 1.2, and where radius is 10, so it will be half times 10 square minus 2 pi minus 1.2. That gives us 254.159. And the area of the triangle, since we know the two sides and the angle between them, we can use the formula half AB sine theta. So it will be half times 10 times 10 times sine 1.2, and that gives us 46.602. And area of the semicircle BCD will be again half pi r square. Since pi r square is the area of the complete circle, that means for semicircle it will be half of that. So that gives us 50.073. Now let's sum all these three values, which will give us the area of the metal plate, and that is 351, correct to 3 significant figure. Question number 7. The equation of a curve is y is equals to 2 plus 3 over 2x minus 1. We need to obtain an expression for dy over dx. So y can be written as 2 plus 3 times 2x minus 1 whole to the power minus 1. So dy by dx is equals to 2 becomes 0, and negative 1 times positive 3 is negative 3, then 2x minus 1, and minus 1 is negative 2. Then we do inside differentiation, and that gives us positive 2. Simplifying this, we get negative 6 times 2x minus 1 whole to the power negative 2. In the next question, it says explain why the curve has no stationary points. So this was the dy by dx, and we know that at stationary point dy by dx is equals to 0. Now let's put it to test. Minus 6 over 2x minus 1 whole square is equals to 0 if the curve has a stationary point. So we can see after cross multiplying, minus 6 becomes 0, which is not possible. Hence the curve has no stationary point. In the next part of the question, it says at the point P on the curve x equals to 2. We need to show that the normal to the curve at P passes through the origin. So when x is equals to 2, let's substitute this value into the equation of the dy by dx, which gives us minus 6 over 4 minus 1 whole square, because the equation was minus 6 over 2x minus 1 whole square. So 2 times 2 gives us 4. Simplifying this, we get negative 2 over 3. This is the gradient of the tangent at the point P. So the gradient of the normal at the point P must be the negative reciprocal of this number. So it will be positive 3 over 2. So when x is equals to 2, let's substitute this again into the equation of the curve. So it will be y is equals to 2 plus 3 over 2 times 2 minus 1, which is equals to 3. So we know the coordinate, which is 2 and 3. That is the coordinate for the point P. And we also know the gradient of the normal. That means we can find the equation of the normal line with the help of this information. And we will be using the formula y minus y1 equals to mx minus x1 to figure out the equation of the line. So y minus 3 is equals to 3 over 2 times x minus 2. That gives us 2y minus 6 is equals to 3x minus 6. So 2y is equals to 3x. Therefore, y is equals to 3x over 2. So this is the equation of the normal line. Now, you can see that for normal, when x is equals to 0, y is also 0. If you substitute the value of x as 0, we get y to be 0 as well. Hence, it passes through the origin. In the next part of the question, it says a point moves along the curve in such a way that its x coordinate is decreasing at a constant rate of 0.06 units per second. That means dx by dt is negative 0.06 because it is decreasing. We need to find the rate of change of y, which means we need to find dy by dt as the point passes through P. And we know the coordinate of P, which is 2 and 3. So let's use the equation of dy by dx, which was negative 6 over 2x minus 1 whole square. So for dy by dt, we can use the chain rule, which is dy by dx times dx by dt. And when x is equals to 2, dy by dt becomes minus 6 over 2 times 2, which is 4, minus 1 whole square times dx by dt is negative 0.06. And that gives us 0.04. And that is the answer. Question number 8. A cyclist completes a long distance charity event across Africa. The total distance is 3050 kilometers. He starts the event on May 1st and cycles 200 kilometers on that day. On each subsequent day, he reduces the distance cycled by 5 kilometers. How far will he travel on May 15th? So from the question, you should understand that this is an arithmetic progression because he is reducing the distance each day by 5 kilometers. So the first term will be 200, and since he is reducing, the common difference must be negative 5. So the 15th, for the 15th May, in order to find how far he traveled on the 15th May, the date started from the 1st May. So it must be the 15th term they're talking about. So 200 plus 15 minus 1 times negative 5 will give us the answer. And we are using the formula a plus n minus 1 times t. So that gives us 200 minus 70, which is 130. Then it says, on what date will he finish the event? The total distance was 3050 kilometers. So we can use the formula n over 2 times 2a plus n minus 1 times t, which is the formula for the sum of terms of an arithmetic progression. And the total is 3050. So that means n over 2, where n tells us the number of days it requires. So that will be n over 2 times 2a is 200 plus n minus 1 times negative 5, which is 3050. Simplifying, we get n times 400 minus 5n plus 5 is equals to 6100. If we take n common, sorry, n was already outside, it will be 405 minus 5n equals to 6100. Now multiplying this, we get 405n minus 5n square is equals to 6100. Or we can say 405n minus 5n square is minus 6100 is equals to 0. Or we can rewrite it as minus 5n square plus 405n minus 6100 is equals to 0. Multiplying both sides by -1, we get 5n square minus 405n plus 6100 is equals to 0. We can simplify this by dividing both sides with positive 5. Sorry, negative 5. So it will be n square minus 81n plus 1220. Now let's do the middle term break. It will be n square minus 61n minus 20n plus 1220. If we take n common, it will be n minus 61. And if we take negative 20 common, it will be n minus 61 again. So the factors are n minus 20 and n minus 61 equals to 0. Therefore, n is equals to 20 and n is equals to 61. Now you need to think of that one of the nature of a quadratic equation is to give you two values. But for this case, the answer will be just 20 because that is the first time when he will be crossing when he will be completing the 3050 kilometer journey. In the next part of the question, it says a geometric progression is such that the third term is 8 times the sixth term, and the sum of the first 6 terms is 31 and half. We need to find the first term of the progression. So according to the question, the third term of a geometric progression is ar square, and it is equal to the 8 times of the sixth term. So 8 times of the sixth term means ar to the power 5, or we can say 8 ar to the power 5 is equals to ar square. So ar to the power 5 over ar square is equals to 1 over 8. Simplifying, we get r cube equals to 1 over 8, and if we cube root, we get r is equals to half. So that is the common ratio. Now let's use the second part of the question to figure out the value of a, which was the sum of the first 6 terms is 31 and half. So sum of 6 term is 63 over 2 if we convert the mixed fraction into improper fraction. Sorry, this is a proper fraction. And the formula will be, since r is less than 1, we can use the formula a times 1 minus r to the power n over 1 minus r for the sum of geometric progression. Therefore, it will be a times 1 minus half to the power 6 over 1 minus half is equals to 63 over 2, which gives us a times 1 minus 1 over 64 equals to 63 over 4. So 63 times a over 64 is equals to 63 over 4. Therefore, a is equals to 16. Now we have to find the sum to infinity of the progression. So we have already found the value of a, which is 16, and r was half. So sum to infinity, the formula we can use is a over 1 minus r. That gives us 16 over 1 minus half, which is 32. Question number 9 is not in the syllabus at the moment. Question number 10. A function f is defined by fx is 5 minus 2 sine 2x for x lies between 0 and pi. We need to find the range of f. So before proceeding, I need to tell you that this 2x affects the period of the graph. But since the period lies on the x-axis, of course, it affects the x-axis. That means it should not be affecting the range. The range will only be getting affected by this -2, which affects the amplitude of the curve, and this +5, which affects the translation of the graph. So with the help of this information, let's first think of how the grid of a default sin x looks like. So the default sin x will be 0, 1, 0, and -1. Where this is 0 degree, this is 90 degree, this is 180 degree, this is 270 degree, and this is back to 360 degree. Now let's deal with the amplitude first. So if I multiply -2 with these 4 values, I get 0, -2, 0, and +2. Now we need to add the 5 with all these 4 values. So it will be 5, and 5 minus 2 is positive 3. This will be 5, and this will be 5 plus 2 is 7. So the range must lie between 3 and 7. And in order to show you how the graph will look like is the baseline will be at 5, and the reason why the sin x has a shape which has flipped is because of the negative sign. The default sin x looks like this. It goes from here to here and all the way down here, but now it's going in the opposite way because there is a negative sign in the equation. In the next part of the question, they have asked us to sketch the graph y equals to fx. So you must make sure that you are providing this shape because it's a negative sin x. And this is the range I was talking about, that it lies between 3 and 7. In the next part of the question, it says solve the equation fx equals to 6, giving our answer in terms of pi. So this is the equation, and fx equals to 6. That means 5 minus 2 sine 2x is equals to 6, or we can say negative 2 sine 2x is equals to 1, and therefore sine 2x is equals to negative half. Now since we have 2x, let's fix the limit. X lies between 0 and pi. Now let's multiply all of them with 2. So it will give us 0 less or equal to 2x less or equal to 2 pi. Now let's call a as 2x. So it will be a lies between 0 and 2 pi. So we can say that sine a is equals to negative half. Now let's find the basic angle, which will be sine inverse of positive half, because we are finding the basic angle. And that gives us pi over 6. Now we know that negative sign lies in the third and fourth quadrant. So for the value of a, it will be pi plus the basic angle, which is pi over 6. That gives us 7 pi over 6, and 2 pi minus pi over 6, which is 11 pi over 6. This is the same as 2x. So x must be 7 pi over 12 and 11 pi over 12. In the next part, it says the function g is defined. Gx is 5 minus 2 sine 2x for x lies between 0 and k, where k is a constant. We need to state the largest value of k for which g has an inverse. So again, let's recall that inverse function only exists if the original function is 1 to 1. If the original function is many to 1, we will not be having the inverse function. Now the graph that we have is a many to 1 function. But if we consider maximum up to pi by 4, it is a 1 to 1 function. Any part of the graph below pi by 4 is 1 to 1, but the maximum, the largest value is pi by 4. If you go above pi by 4, it becomes again a many to 1 function. And how did we find that this will be pi by 4? The reason is we need to look into the graph again. So the equation was 5 minus 2 sine 2x. That means there will be 2 complete cycles within 360. That means there will be 1 complete cycle within 180, which is pi. So we have 1 complete cycle within pi. And the default sin x has the first turning point at 90. Now since all the angles is getting divided by 2, that means now the first turning point will no longer be at 90. Rather, it will be at 45. And 45 means pi by 4. In the next part of the question, for this value of k, we need to find an expression for g inverse of x. So let y is equals to gx. So y is equals to 5 minus 2 sine 2x. So 2 sine 2x is equals to 5 minus y. So sine 2x equals to 5 minus y over 2. Therefore, 2x is equals to sine inverse of 5 minus y over 2. Or we can say x is equals to half times sine inverse 5 minus y over 2. Since y is equals to gx, that means g inverse of y must be x. So g inverse of y must be half sine inverse of 5 minus y by 2. So g inverse of x must be half sine inverse 5 minus x over 2. And that will be all for now. I will see you in the next video.